Have you ever wondered what life actually looks like if your net worth is $10,000, $100,000, $500,000, or even $5 million in Canada today? Most people think becoming wealthy happens overnight, but the truth is that every financial milestone changes your life in different ways. Some levels bring peace of mind. Others unlock opportunities. And surprisingly, there are points where earning more money doesn't necessarily make life much happier. The biggest mistake people make is comparing their income instead of their net worth. Income tells you how much money comes in each year. Net worth tells you what you actually own after subtracting everything you owe. Two Canadians earning the exact same salary can have completely different financial lives simply because one owns appreciating assets while the other carries significant debt. Today, we're going to explore what life looks like at every major net worth level in Canada in 2026, the opportunities each level creates, the challenges that remain, and what it typically takes to move from one stage to the next. You might discover you're much closer to financial freedom than you think. Let's begin at a net worth below zero. This is where millions of Canadians start their financial journey. Student loans, car loans, credit card balances, and personal loans often exceed the value of everything they own. Many recent graduates enter the workforce already carrying tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Life at this stage can feel stressful because every paycheck seems to disappear before the month ends. But here's something important. Having a negative net worth doesn't mean you're failing. For many young professionals, it's simply the starting line. Doctors, engineers, lawyers, and other professionals often begin their careers with substantial student debt before eventually building significant wealth. The priority at this stage isn't investing aggressively. It's creating stability. Building an emergency fund, eliminating high-interest debt, and developing healthy financial habits create the foundation for everything that comes next. Now imagine reaching a net worth of around $25,000. This is the point where many Canadians begin to breathe a little easier. Perhaps you've paid off your credit cards, saved a small emergency fund, and started contributing to a TFSA or RRSP. You may not feel wealthy, but you've built financial momentum. Unexpected expenses become inconveniences instead of disasters. A broken furnace or car repair is frustrating, but it doesn't completely derail your finances. That's an enormous psychological shift that many people underestimate. At approximately $100,000 in net worth, life begins changing in noticeable ways. This is often the result of consistent investing combined with home equity and retirement savings. Compound growth starts becoming visible. Instead of earning money only from your job, your investments begin contributing as well. You're likely thinking more about long-term goals rather than simply surviving each month. Vacations become easier to afford, career decisions become more flexible, and financial anxiety begins to decline. Many Canadians spend years trying to reach this milestone, but once they do, they often realize that wealth grows faster after the first 100,000 than before it. Now let's move to $500,000. A net worth of $500,000 usually represents years of disciplined investing, rising home equity, retirement accounts, and diversified assets. While this number sounds enormous, many homeowners in expensive Canadian cities reach it primarily because of property appreciation. At this level, your investment income starts becoming meaningful. Dividends, capital appreciation, and retirement savings work alongside your employment income. You're no longer relying entirely on a single paycheck. However, many Canadians at this level are still carrying large mortgages. They may appear wealthy on paper while remaining cash flow conscious in everyday life. Cross the $1 million mark, and life changes again. Becoming a millionaire in Canada no longer carries the same meaning it did decades ago. In cities like Toronto or Vancouver, a paid-off home alone may account for a significant portion of that net worth. Even so, reaching seven figures reflects years of disciplined saving, investing, and patience for most people. At this stage, financial security becomes much stronger. Unexpected medical bills, temporary unemployment, or economic downturns become easier to manage. Many families begin thinking about legacy planning, charitable giving, and helping children with education or home purchases. But here's what surprises many people. A millionaire isn't necessarily living a luxury lifestyle. Some drive ordinary cars, shop carefully, and continue working full-time because their wealth is tied up in long-term investments rather than cash. Now let's look at $2 million. This is where genuine financial independence starts becoming realistic for many Canadians. If investments are diversified across dividend stocks, ETFs, real estate, and fixed income assets, the portfolio may begin producing meaningful passive income. Work gradually becomes optional rather than mandatory. People at this stage often value flexibility more than luxury. They choose projects they enjoy, spend more time with family, travel when they want, and focus on experiences instead of possessions. Financial freedom isn't about buying everything. It's about having the freedom to say no. Now imagine reaching $5 million. Life becomes dramatically different. Investment income alone can support an extremely comfortable lifestyle while preserving much of the original wealth. Professional financial advisors, accountants, and estate planners become increasingly important. At this stage, protecting wealth becomes just as important as building it. Successful Canadians often focus on tax efficiency, diversification, philanthropy, succession planning, and preserving wealth across generations rather than maximizing short-term returns. Luxury homes, international travel, private investments, and business ownership become much more common. But here's the lesson many wealthy Canadians eventually learn. Money solves financial problems. It doesn't solve every problem. Health, relationships, purpose, and time become far more valuable than another $1 million. Now let's go one step further. At $10 million and beyond, wealth creates opportunities that most people never experience. Entire businesses can be purchased. Venture capital investments become accessible. Family foundations can be established. Wealth becomes less about personal spending and more about influence, opportunity, and legacy. Ironically, many people at this level continue living surprisingly modest lifestyles. They understand that preserving capital often matters more than displaying it. Across every stage we've discussed, one pattern remains remarkably consistent. People who build lasting wealth rarely rely on one lucky investment. They consistently spend less than they earn, invest regularly, diversify their assets, avoid unnecessary debt, continue learning about money, and remain patient during market volatility. Compound interest quietly does the heavy lifting over decades. The truth is that your financial future isn't determined by where you start. It's determined by the habits you repeat year after year. Someone earning an average salary who consistently invests for 30 years often finishes far ahead of someone with a high income who spends everything they make. So instead of asking whether someone else has a higher net worth than you, ask yourself a better question. Is my net worth growing every single year? Because financial success isn't about reaching someone else's number. It's about making steady progress toward your own goals while creating security, freedom, and choices for yourself and your family. Whether your current net worth is negative, $50,000, $500,000, or several $1 million, every stage has its own challenges and opportunities. The important thing is continuing to move forward, making smarter financial decisions, and allowing time to work in your favor. If you found this breakdown helpful and want more practical insights about building wealth, investing, retirement planning, and personal finance in Canada, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching Canadian Finance Hub with James. I'll see you in the next video.